welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title, we are decluttering today. It has been so long since I've done a declutter. So today we are going to be tackling my bronzers. I really need to go through my collection. So this is kind of going to be the start of that. So first we're going to work with our bronzers and then let me know down below what you guys want to see next. Highlighters, palettes, things like that. But we are going to tackle my bronzers. So I'm going to give you guys an overview of what we have. So I have a bunch of bronzers here that I'm going to be tackling in today's video. And if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. So I am hoping this time around to be pretty cutthroat with my collection. Honestly, you guys, I just am running out of room. So I really need to just start really only keeping the things that I'm genuinely using. And a lot of these I know I haven't picked up in so long. So I'm just gonna kind of start in no particular order and just kind of grab some as we go. So first up I have the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. As you can tell, this is actually one of my most used bronzers. I've hit pan on it, which I don't really do often a lot with my makeup. So this is definitely one I want to continue to use up. I've already almost gotten rid of most of it, so I might as well just finish it up. So I'm gonna put this one in my keep pile. I probably will actually end up repurchasing this one as well once I run out of this one, but it has lasted me a very long time. Next up, grabbing one that I know I can get rid of. This one is from Almay, and I believe this one is called their Smart Shade Powder Bronzer. And this is a one that I just really haven't reached for. I can't even tell you the last time I've grabbed this one. I know it's a pretty bronzer. It definitely has like those strips in it, but it's been a long time and it's definitely not a staple in my collection, so I feel like I can part ways with it. So next up, I'm gonna grab this one from Cargo Cosmetics. They sent me over a bunch of their waterproof makeup. I actually did a full video reviewing this and kind of testing it out, literally dunking my head in water. And this one for me was okay. I mean, it works well and it did hold up well for the waterproof, but I really just don't need waterproof makeup per se. I'm not really putting on a full face when I'm going swimming or anything like that. And I don't love the packaging on this one with the tin, so I am going to declutter this one from Cargo Cosmetics. So next up, I'm gonna tackle these ones from Wet n Wild. I actually have one more of these. It's the Ticket to Brazil, which is in this size compact. I can't find it though. I was looking everywhere and I literally cannot find it. But that is the one that I actually wear most out of these Wet n Wild bronzers. So I know a few of these were a part of, like this one was a part of the Fire and Ice collection. And I think this one was just a part of like their like winter launch. So this one for sure in the middle. I kept it in case I wanted to repress it, which I never ended up doing. And I think the shade actually would work really well for me, but I just haven't repressed it and I probably won't. So I know I'm gonna declutter that one. And then we have these other two. So the one that I have is the Fire and Ice one, and this one is You're Dragging Me Down, which I remember I think it was a little bit too deep for my skin tone. I do like the Ticket to Brazil one better. And then this one here is the Palm Beach Ready, and this one has a little bit of shimmer in it, which I don't always reach for with my bronzers. Sometimes I do, but for the most part, I prefer like a matte bronzer. So I think I'm gonna actually declutter both of these ones from Wet n Wild. So speaking of shimmer bronzers, this is one that I've kept in my collection that when I do want a shimmer bronzer, kind of this is the one I reach for. So this is from Milani. This is one of their baked bronzers and I have mine in Glow. And if I am gonna reach for like a glowy bronzer, this is the one that I normally grab. So I am gonna hold on to this one. So I have the one from the Boom Boom Bloom collection from MAC. This one was actually called a highlight powder. This is in Spring Bling, but if you saw my review on this, you know that it's just like an overlay. You can kind of see right there. And it's pretty much just a matte bronzer. And I didn't find this anything special. I mean, it worked well and it was really just a matte bronzer, but it's not worth keeping in my collection. I also feel like it's kind of weird with the little, I feel like this whole like launch was very strange with like the overlay, and I just don't need this in my collection. So one of my staples is the Hoola Bronzer. This is one that I reach for quite often. I love this bronzer. I've used it for so many years and I absolutely love it. This was actually one of my first high-end bronzers I ever bought. Not this one, I don't think, but I've had this in my collection for as long as I can remember, and I definitely want to keep it in my collection. So up next, I have one from Too Faced. This is their Chocolate Soleil. I actually just recently picked this one up. I really haven't gotten to use it too many times. I think I've used it maybe 4 or 5 times. It is one that I really do enjoy, and I think I'll get some use out of in my collection, so I am going to keep this one. So I want to grab these couple ones from Tarte. So this one here is Park Ave Princess, which is one of my favorite bronzers. Again, this is a little bit of a glowy bronzer, and the ones I reach for are the Milani one and this one, because this one has a little bit of sheen to it, but it's not too much. I've used so much of this one and I really like it. And then I have this other one here, and this one is Hotel Heiress, and this one is just too deep for my skin tone. I think I honestly used it once and I should have just passed it along at that point, but it went back into my collection and I haven't used it since, so I do need to declutter this one. I'm gonna hold on to Park Ave Princess. Like, we're doing good so far. So continuing on, I have this one from Lorac. This is their Tantalizer baked bronzer, and I bought this one, I think I got it at like TJ Maxx, and I was so excited because I have this little sample one right here, and I love this one. So this is a baked bronzer, and this one is in matte tan. That's what I thought I was getting with this one, and this one is actually in Golden Glow. So it is a like more of a luminous bronzer, and I really thought I was getting the full size of this one because I love this one, and I use it very sparingly because I only have the little sample one right here. It's also a little tough to end up getting products out of this one because it is such a small compact. So I do think I'm actually just going to declutter both of these because as much as I love this one, I never reach for it because of how small it is, and this one is just not what I was expecting it to be. And again, it's glowy and it's very large. The compact itself, it's kind of bulky in my collection, so I think I can actually pass both of these along. So one of my top bronzers in my collection is this one here. It's from Becca. This is in Capri Coast. I honestly think if I were to keep one bronzer in my entire collection, it would probably be this one. It's so pretty. It's the bronzer I have on today. It has a little tiny minuscule amount of shine to it, but it doesn't look like glittery or anything on the skin. It looks so natural, so beautiful. You can use a ton of this or a little of this, and it's just such a pretty product. I highly recommend if you've never checked out the Becca bronzers, you check them out because they are so good. Definitely holding on to this one. Next up, I want to grab the Hoola Light. I recently got this in PR from Benefits, and I was so excited because the Hoola works for me, but sometimes I do still feel like it's a little bit dark, and I was excited to try this one and thought maybe it would work out for me a little bit more. Maybe I would like this one when I'm a little bit more fair, but for me it was actually too fair for me and it was too light on me, so I don't think that this is one I'll probably ever be able to use because I think I was using it when I was like in the winter months and I was pretty fair, so I'm gonna get rid of this one. So up next, I have this one from Thrive Cosmetics. This one is in Sun Chaser, and it's supposed to be like a blurring bronzer. I don't really notice much of a blur here. It is a matte bronzer. I feel like it's very typical to the rest of the bronzers I have in my collection that are matte. So I am actually gonna part ways with this one. And then I have a few here from the Balm. I could have sworn I had like one more of the Take Home the Bronze, but I can't find it either. I swear you guys, my collection is such a mess right now. I should probably do like a full like revamping or organizing my collection because it is such a mess. But I have the Bahama Mama one right here, which is one that I do enjoy. And then I also have the Take Home the Bronze, and this one is in Oscar. So I actually have another shade in it that I prefer more than Oscar. So both of these I do like. The Bahama Mama is a little bit deep for me. I do like it, but I have to be very tan, and I honestly haven't been self-tanning or anything lately, and I just don't know that I will, and there's a few other bronzers I'm going to keep over this one. So I am going to hold on to Oscar. I do really like this one, but I'm going to get rid of Bahama Mama. Next up, I have this one from ColourPop, and honestly, I can't even remember the name of this one because it's actually on the back of the pan, and then they just gave me like this compact to put it in. And I like the bronzer, but for the reason I never know what one it is, I don't think I need to keep it. It's also one that I don't reach for very often. It's a little bit light for my skin tone, so I am going to declutter this one. One of my favorites right here is the number 7 Golden Sands Bronzer. I love this one. You can tell I'm getting close to hitting pan on it. I'm thinking it's going to happen soon because I use this one nonstop. It's a very good, affordable option. I do find it very comparable to like my Hoola Bronzer, and I often mention this one as like a dupe for other products that I feel like are very expensive and very high-end. I feel like this one does the same thing. I think they have a few different shades in it, but this one is the one that works best for me. So I actually think I even have a backup of this one because I love it that much for when this one runs out, so I am going to be keeping this one. All right, I'm going to kind of push these together. We're getting close here. So I do have this one here from Urban Decay. I know I have 2 of these. So these were part of their Beached collection, and I know I have 2 different shades here, and I know that I liked this one because this one was the one that worked best for me, and I know this one was a little bit too red for me. So I am going to declutter this one. This one here is the Sunkissed, and then this one was the Bronze. So I am going to keep the Bronze. I'm going to declutter the Sunkissed. So next up, I have this one from MAC. This was in collaboration with Patrick Starr. And again, it's just a matte bronzer, and I didn't really like it. It was in Give Me Life. It worked really well, but this collection was only limited edition, and I tend to use my makeup a lot in my tutorials and things. And when things are limited edition, I just don't really reach for them all too often because they're kind of, you can't purchase them anymore. So it's kind of one of those things where I don't want to use it in my video, and I don't love it enough to use it on its own not filming. So I am going to declutter this one. I do have a few more of the MAC collection as well. So this one was another one with Patrick Starr. This was their holiday release, and this one has a bit of sheen in it. I think they advertised this one as actually a highlight or finishing powder, but this one for me was way too glittery. It's just not something I reach for in a bronzer. And then this one here was the Aaliyah collection as well, and this one's a little bit more like a highlight, but it was too deep for me, so I used it more as like a bronzer topper. but again, it's limited edition. You can't really get this one anymore, so I'm gonna go ahead and part ways with it. Up next from Too Faced, I have the Natural Luxe Bronzer. This is a newer one to my collection. I have been reaching for it quite often. I do really like it. It has a little bit of the highlight in here, and it's also just like a matte bronzer, so you can swirl it and mix it together, or what I like to do is just use the matte side and use this as actually a highlight. I think it's really pretty this way, so I am gonna keep this one. So next up, I have this duo here from e.l.f. This one is in St. Lucia. I actually purchased this one because that is where I went on my honeymoon with my husband, and I really just purchased it for a sentimental reason. I kept it in my collection because I do like having more affordable options, but I really just don't reach for this one. I don't really reach for duos all too often anyways, but I am going to declutter it. One of my larger bronzers is the Bronze Goddess from Estee Lauder. I love this one. It's one of my favorites in my collection. I use it all the time. I think that it is just such a pretty bronzer. It's one you can go heavy-handed with, light-handed with, and I don't feel like it's ever too intense. It just looks really nice on the skin. And then next up, I have the one from Marc Jacobs. This is their Fantastic Bronzer. If you guys have been watching my reviews, you know I recently got this one. I've fallen in love with it. So it's definitely going to be one that I think is going to be a staple in my collection I'm going to hold on to. So up next, I have this one from Clove and Hollow, and this one is in Camo. And I do like this one. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, I just have so many bronzers that are so similar. Like I can only use so many matte bronzers that I feel like I kind of have to pick and choose like my favorites. And if I'm being honest, I don't reach into this one all too often, so I don't think it's one I need to keep in my collection. I do think it's really nice. I love a lot of Clove and Hollow's products, but I don't think it's one I'm going to hold on to. So up next, I have this one from Vita Labrada, and this is one of their self-tanning bronzing minerals. I got this one, and honestly, I don't think I've ever even used it. Like, I haven't even touched it. I thought it was one I was going to use in the summertime. Like, I think that this one is actually supposed to meant to be like a self-tanning bronzer. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know, but I've never used it, so there's no reason to keep it in my collection. All right, so we just have 4 more, and then I have some cream bronzers I'm going to show you guys as well. So I have this little one here from LA Colors. I got this one when I did my Dollar Tree makeup haul. This one, again, glowy, and I don't really need the dollar store one because it wasn't that great. Up next, I have this one from Milani. This is one of their Sun-Kissed, and I got it in Silky Matte. I do like this. I feel like the color is a little off for me. It's a little bit red. I wish I would have got like the shade before this one because I do think it's a little bit deep on me. I am going to hold on to it though and hope that I can wear it in the summertime if I do get a little bit tanner because I do really like the formula. I just actually want to purchase the one ahead of this one because I think that it would match me a little bit better. So up next, I have this one from Motive Cosmetics. This one is in Hampton Socialite. I do really like this one. It's kind of like my perfect like cool toned bronzing shade. I know I've kept so many that look so similar, but I am going to hold on to this one. And then I know I want to keep this last one. This one is from Too Faced. It's a part of their Pineapple collection. This one is the Pineapple Sun. Their Tutti Frutti collection is actually what it's from. This one has a bronzer inside of it and then also a highlight. I do really like the highlight as well as the bronzer. It does have a little bit of shine in it, so it's not one that I reach for all the time. But again, if I am going for that kind of glowy look in the summertime, I will use this one. That was all of my powder bronzers, so now we're going to get into the cream products. I really don't use cream bronzer all too often. It's just not something I regularly do. I like having the option of doing it, but it's not something that I regularly do, so I don't think I need to hold on to hardly any of these. So I know for sure I'm going to get rid of the Sunbeam one from Benefit. This one I just don't love the applicator. It's one of those brush applicators, and I really just don't notice much of a difference when I use this. You have to use a lot of it. I just don't really love that one from Benefit. The one that I know that I want to keep is the contour. This is the Pure Camo Contour. I do really like this one. I've actually used quite a bit of this. Like I'm almost close to, you guys see that? It's almost close to being out. It's probably my most used cream product if I am going to use one. I don't really use the other side. This one is a highlighting side. I really haven't used that side too much, but I do enjoy the cream side, so I am going to keep this one. I have one of these pigment sticks from Iconic London, and this was an okay formula. It's just a little bit of an off shade for me. It pulled a little bit red, even knowing it looks like it's going to be a right shade for my light skin tone. I just think this one was a little bit off, so I am going to get rid of that one. I also have the Hoola Quickie Contour Stick, and this one is good. I do like this one. It's not my favorite, but I am only going to keep, I think, a few, probably only 2 of these in my collection. So I'm going to keep this one probably in the Pure one. So that being said, I am going to get rid of these ones. So I have this one from Rimmel London. This is their contour stick. I just didn't really like the formula of this one. This one has a little bit of shine on this side, and then this one is more of a matte one. It was just too deep for my skin tone. I think it's a cool product, but I just don't really reach for this one, obviously. And then I have these 3 from Smashbox. And I think these are really cool. They're actually just like these really slim pencils, and you can use them to contour. And then there's one here as well to highlight. But again, I just don't reach for this type of product. And I feel like with the applicator, they're so small that you kind of have to apply a generous amount of product to be able to see it. And then lastly, I have this one from Chanel, and this one is the Soleil De Chanel. I got this one because everyone raves about it and talks about how amazing it is, and I really just don't feel like it's that great. I purchased this one, I think, off Glambot, so it is used, so that's why it looks like I've used a lot of it, but I really haven't. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep it in my collection just because it is Chanel, and I did really well with this declutter. I do want to reach into it more because I really haven't given it a fair shot, but I just don't use these cream products. I think that's why I really haven't reached into it, but I think I did pretty good, so I think I'm going to keep this one actually. So here is an overview of all of the bronzers that I am keeping. I'm pretty happy with the ones that I chose. So this is a total of 18 bronzers, and it sounds like a lot. I feel like it still is a lot, but I do know that I reach into these all quite often, so I'm happy with that number. Okay, and then here is an overview of all the ones I'm getting rid of. I'm really happy to see this many leave my collection. I'm so excited to just have more room and to utilize the ones that I do want to use. So in total, this is 27 bronzers I will be getting rid of. That makes me so happy that it is more than I actually kept. I always love it when that happens with my declutters, and I'm just so grateful to be able to pass these along to someone else that I feel like will get much more use out of them. Give this one a thumbs up if you guys do enjoy these declutters, and like I mentioned, let me know down below what one you guys want to see next from me, what you would like me to declutter, and also don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends!